got all these, I brought my guys down from the shelf, but I don't, oh, you will stand. That doesn't do shit. Okay, well, I think this is fine. Very warm. So, I've been a Dragon Ball fan for maybe 3 years, 4 years. Like, I didn't grow up with it, but I still really like it. I watched all of Z and Super, except for the tournament saga, because it lost my interest. And I watched a little bit of Dragon Ball and a little bit of GT. I like Super. I like it a lot. And I think that it gets a lot of flack, and I think it does deserve some of that. But I do think that there's some easy fixes to the things that people complain about a lot in Super. So I've been inspired by Jenny Nicholson's videos. I've been watching her videos a lot, and so I'm kind of just doing my own. So here's my 9 things to fix Dragon Ball Super. Number 1, and I feel like I'm already gonna lose a lot of people on this one, but more filler. Like, I really like the Dragon Ball Super filler episodes. I think the Z filler episodes are also a lot of fun, and they just bring like a lot of fun to this series. They're memorable, like people really like talking about them. People like to see the characters that they love doing mundane things. Like, I absolutely love the filler episode where Vegeta gets like his power sucked out and turned into jelly. Like, I think that's hilarious, and he gets to suck on a pacifier. It's funny, and it makes the characters more relatable. Like, you just get to see what they're doing when they're hanging around, right? Yeah, like, people hate filler episodes a lot, but personally, I love them. Like, I just think that they make the whole story more like human, as long as they're not shoehorned in, right? Like, as long as they belong there. Point number 2, I think this is an important one, is variety. Like, for me, Super especially seems to be a lot of the same heroes fighting and the same heroes sitting on the sidelines in the same kind of locations. Like, it's always Goku and Vegeta versus somebody on Earth in a place that's kind of far away from people, but like, it's on Earth, but it's like kind of destroyed. And then, you know, everybody else is like on the sides. And so I think the way I would fix this is like just have a new arc where something's going on in Universe 6, for example, and either Goku or Vegeta, but not both of them, because that's always what happens, either Goku or Vegeta goes to help them out, and that way you get new characters to like interact with the main character, right? Like Cabba, Khalifa, and Kale, people love them so much, and so that gives you time to flesh out those characters and their relationships with the main character that went over. And yeah, that way you can showcase the character's dynamic with those other characters. I'm not saying that it has to be Vegeta, but it should be Vegeta. I mean, think about it. He already, like, Cabba promised him he would take him to see the king and stuff. Like, it's a perfect setup. They should totally do it. And I just think like new locations would be really interesting. I know in the manga, the newest arcs that are coming out right now, they're back on Namek, I think. I like Namek a lot, so I'm really excited about that. And it seems like it's just Goku and Vegeta there, which is interesting because then you get to see new characters. Point number 3 is consequences. Back to filler episodes. I know that a super filler episode that people talk about a lot is the one after the Champa tournament when Goku like breaks his ki and he's like, he can't use instant transmission properly. I find that very interesting. A lot of people do. They like talking about it just because it makes everything feel more real, and it like gives a sense of the actions of the arcs actually do affect the individual lives of the characters. Like, it's not just Goku and Vegeta go and do these fights and then they come home and it's like nothing happened. It's way more interesting to have characters even just talk about the events that they've experienced, just because then you're like, oh yeah, like they did live through this. Like, it's part of their life. It's not just something that they do and then it's over. Like, this is part of their world and their existence, and it's like, it's something that they lived through. So I think more things like that. I know it was only one filler episode and then Goku was like back to normal. I think it would be very interesting to have like some kind of dynamic where he can't use a certain move for a while because like he's exhausted that resource, or he can't just have an infinite supply of power and he's always fine after everything he does. I think consequences would round him out more, and we'll get back to that. Point number 4, let women do things. This one seems pretty obvious. Dragon Ball has a very cool cast of female characters, and they've all been reduced to mom status, and it's a crime, honestly. Bulma is a brilliant scientist lady. She invented a fucking time machine, and she's cool as hell. I mean, she does, like, show up in a pinch. Like, she's the one that's there the most, which is fine. Like, I love her, so I'm always happy to see her. But I do think that, like, it'd be very interesting to see her create a solution to a problem that could otherwise be solved with fighting, and, like, let her solve the problem, or maybe even let her create a problem. Like, have her open a wormhole or make it crazy AI or something. I mean, we already kind of did that with Dr. Gero. Genius comes at a price or something, and it could be an interesting way to create a new villain because she didn't mean to, but she's created something awful. Android 18, Jesus, it's getting... Jesus, is it just because it's dusty, or is it because it's so bright in here? Android 18 is canonically stronger than Krillin. I think she's also stronger than Tien. Like, she's crazy powerful, and she's sidelined a lot just because I think the dynamic she has with Krillin is he goes to fight and she stays with Marin as a last resort. Like, if everything else fails, she's there to, you know, fight for their kid, which I like a lot. I think that's a very sweet dynamic, and I think that it's interesting, and it makes sense. I just think, like, I'd like to see that. If that's the thing that they have set up, let her do that. Let her fight. I mean, I know that she was in the tournament saga, because I didn't watch it, but I kept up with it. And I know that she did get to fight, which is cool. Like, just let her fight more, is what I'm saying. She's cool as hell. People love her. Videl and Chi-Chi, I understand that it's harder to put them in a story, just because they're human, and, like, they're not as powerful as the rest of the Z fighters, so it's so hard to... Fuck. It's so hard to put them in the story naturally and not have them immediately be killed off. And I'm not saying that they have to, like, be fighters again. I'm just saying they were fighters. I know that there's a little bit, I think, in Z where we see Chi-Chi sparring with Goten, which I think is awesome. I think that's a great way to show that she used to do that. I also think a good way to do it would be to have... This is honestly the reason that I haven't done any other YouTube videos, is because this room has no good time to film with natural light. This is ridiculous. I think a good way to infuse a little more heart and drama into a story would be to, like, kind of similar to what Bulma did in Battle of Gods, have Chi-Chi fucking, like, hit a villain for hurting her kids. It makes sense, it's in character, and it doesn't have to do anything. Like, it would just show, like, oh yeah, Chi-Chi, she's still got a fighter's spirit, and that's what she does, and she's a mama bear, you know? I think that would inject a lot of heart into the rising action of some story. It would give a little bit more stakes, and I think it would make people hate Chi-Chi less, because unfortunately that's a thing. People hate her because they just think that she's overprotective mom. I think also letting the women do things is give them a little more character, please, other than mom and bitch, because that's all 4 of them. Point number 5 is setups and foreshadowing. If you tell the plot, like the general plot of Dragon Ball to somebody, it's so easy while you're talking to realize that everything that you're saying is just one event after another, and it's like this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened, and then the fight was over, and then Majin Buu showed up. Like, it's very linear, and I get that it's a manga, and, like, that's usually how it happens, but foreshadowing and setting up villains is a good way to keep people invested. It's a good way to keep people talking, like have people speculating. And so I think a good way to do that would be similar to what happened at the beginning of the Goku Black arc. Like, he shows up and they fight for a little bit and then he disappears, but instead of just going to fight him again, you have another villain show up and have, like, a more pressing issue, and then have them defeat that villain and go back to fight the other one. Like, that way you just get integration between the storylines, and it's not as choppy, you know? That way you get, like, one thing kind of flowing into another, instead of just, like, this arc is over and now this one is starting, and then this arc is over so that villain's dead and then we're moving on to a new villain, you know? That way it kind of ties more things together. Point number 6 is villains. I found that in a lot of Super's more recent arcs, the main villains are just a purple meathead for Goku to punch. I like Beerus a lot. I think he's great. And I think Goku Black is cool. He's unique. He's like very hot topic. And, you know, I like that. It's fine. But Hit and Jiren don't have a single personality trait between the two of them. They're just purple. Hit's got potential. He's got a cool job and a cool trench coat. Other than that, what is he like? What does he do? Like, you know, he's mysterious, he's edgy. What's he like? You know? I frequently and routinely forget that Hit exists. I forget about him completely because he has no character at all. Like, there's nothing to him. He's just some mysterious bounty hunter. We know, and he's too mysterious. Like, we know so little about him that I forget about him. It's ridiculous. And in the case of Jiren, there was supposed to be, like, a big rivalry between him and Goku, like, in the tournament arc. And, again, I didn't watch it, but from what I've seen, it looks like they kind of tried to make us feel sympathy for Jiren by, like, showing a flashback of him being sad and poor and, like, saying that, like, oh, he fights for justice and he fights for his universe. Like, yeah, that's what Goku's doing too. So what? That doesn't make me feel bad for him. That doesn't make me feel bad for erasing his universe. Even if he does have a family to fight for, it's like, he's just saying that. Like, you have to show that he really cares about them. There's nothing to Jiren's character that I can think, like, he likes justice. Yeah, everybody at the tournament except for Frost and Frieza care about justice. That's why they're there. If you want a compelling, what the the sun is like rising because it's 10:30 a.m. The sun keeps moving around my building and it's stupid. Where was I? If you want... Okay, moving the camera again, because if you want to have a compelling rivalry between Jiren and Goku, you need to give Jiren some substance that Goku can play off of. Yeah, he fights, like Goku fights too. There's nothing to Jiren's character. And if you want people to respect him as a villain, respect him as a threat, like see him as an actual threat, it doesn't matter how powerful he seems to be. If he doesn't have any personality, like if there's nothing to him, people aren't going to take him seriously as a villain or as a threat. And I can't keep filming this video if it's going to look like this. Okay. Hey, that's not so bad. Okay. Taped a piece of paper to my desk so that it's just sticking out, just barely blocking the sun. Yeah, Jiren's boring, Hit is boring. It doesn't matter how tough they are, how cool their moves are. People aren't going to care about them or take them seriously unless they have compelling personalities. Number 7. And this is a big one, but I think we can do it. It's fix Goku. If you're a big fan of Goku's character in Z, you don't need me to explain this to you, but I'm gonna do it. Goku in Z may be dumb, fun-loving, and very kind, but he still takes things seriously. Like, he understands the gravity of situations, and he gets that things have consequences. And when it comes down to it, he takes things seriously because he knows that his family and his planet are in danger. Super turned him into, like, a golden retriever that's really excited to see you at the end of the day, but instead of being excited to see you, he's excited to see muscle. And instead of wanting to, like, lick you, he really wants to punch the side of your head. It's like they've completely reduced him to the most baseline, like, surface level personality traits, and it's awful. Goku also gets a lot of shit for being a bad dad in Super, and I feel like we can also fix this problem here. To fix Goku, I would just say, like, let him get serious before things get all the way down to the wire. That even before the fight really starts, like, he starts to level himself out and look serious and, like, talk seriously, you know, like, just show that he understands that the things he's doing could have consequences. It's okay for him to, like, get excited at the concept of a new villain, like, oh, okay, but as soon as that power is demonstrated and he sees that, like, it's a threat to his friends and family, he needs to start taking that seriously. I know that it's hard when he's, like, an all-powerful god-like figure now to totally, like, just let him be nonchalant about everything. But just because he's all-powerful doesn't mean that his planet or his friends and family are safe. Like, that doesn't mean that they're not in danger. So he needs to start taking things more seriously. I think in general to just show that he's like a little more human and a little less bouncy and stupid, like just let him participate in more conversations with other characters, semi-serious conversations, you know, ones where he's not just like, oh, I don't know what that is, or oh, I don't know what's that. Like, let him talk to people, and that way, like, not only do we get more character development from everybody, you get the sense that he's like a real person, you know, and that he does care about his friends and family. I think to fix the idea that he's a bad dad, it would be good to just like even 1 or 2 scenes where he's talking to Goten, who's like in school, and Goten's like, oh, this kid's getting bullied and I don't know what to do about it. I know that I'm not supposed to fight people. And Goku can be like, well, you know, I think maybe you should talk to the person, like talk to the bully and see why they're doing this, and maybe try and be nice to them, and maybe they'll stop being mean if you're nice to them. I know that that's not necessarily good advice. It's not the advice that a rational adult would give. Like most adults would say, oh, tell the teacher. Like that's what smart adults would say. But Goku's not a smart adult. He's Goku. That's a good way of sticking to the kind of person that he was in Z, like offering kindness to people, but still like not being a normal smart adult. Like it's a good way of showing that he's a good dad, but he's not a smart person. Just because Goku's fun and goofy doesn't mean that he can't be nuanced, and I think giving him that nuance and giving him more facets as a character not only makes people fucking hate him less, but it also makes him more relatable. Like it makes people want to root for him more because they understand him, or they feel the same way he feels, you know? This leads me to my final point, and it's kind of jumping off of let Goku be more human or more relatable, and that's point number 8. Let Goku lose. This might be a hot take, but it's okay to let your main character fail. Like, it's more than okay. Not only does it let Goku be more relatable and understandable, because we all fail, and we want to see a hero that can fail but still succeed in the end. That makes us root for them even more, like want him to succeed even more. It's hard to want Goku to succeed when you know that he's already going to succeed. The second thing that it does is it lets other characters have a chance to shine. I'm not just saying this because I'm a horrible, no good Vegeta stan bitch. I also think that the androids, Krillin, Tien, Yamcha, like I think everybody deserves a chance to really shine as characters. And show that they have power too. We're told that they're powerful and that they're more powerful than the rest of the population of Earth, but we're not going to believe that. Like, we're not going to really believe that and take them seriously unless we see them doing that, unless we see them do something of consequence. I know it's hard to do that when you've leveled your main characters up to such a degree that they're, like, literally invincible, and so any villain that would have defeated Goku would absolutely wipe out everybody else. I think it would be worthwhile to have Goku fail and then have everybody else fight this villain, and then have Goku come back and show that his friends loosened the pickle jar for him. Like, if you're going to have the other characters fight, you should at least show that they did something, that they weakened the villain, they took out an alternative source of power or something. Like, just so that we know that they do stuff and that they are powerful and that they're not just jokes now. So those are my 8 points to improve Dragon Ball Super. Just kidding, there's a secret 9th point, and it's my most important one. Stop bringing back Frieza. I fucking hate him, and he's annoying, and I don't think that he should come back anymore, because it's been done again and again, and I'm fucking tired. All in all, I think the Broly movie is fantastic. I think other than committing the 9th cardinal sin of bringing Frieza back, I think it's taking a lot of steps in the right direction. I like Chilai a lot. I hope that she doesn't just get the same mom treatment. Like, I hope that she gets to do stuff, because I think that she's a lot of fun. I like Broly so much. I think that he's wonderful. I think that he has so much potential for character growth, and he already has a lot of nuance as a character. Paragus was a good villain. He was interesting, and I want to skin him alive. Like, I want to bring him back from the dead and shoot him again. And that's how you know that you've written a good villain, is because I fucking hate him so much. I feel something towards him, and that's what counts. Goku had a good fraction of his Z personality back, especially when he got every single one of his bones broken and he was begging Piccolo, or not begging Piccolo, he was asking Piccolo for help. I think that was good. Like, they did kind of let Goku fail, which I like a lot. I think for the most part, Vegeta was allowed to shine as much as Akira Toriyama's lingering and ever-present hatred for him will allow. I mean, I'm dissatisfied, but I don't think I could ask for more. The Broly movie was really good. Before it came out, like after the first trailer came out, I wrote a script for a whole like 25-minute YouTube video about how I hated Dragon Ball Minus and how I thought it was like totally gonna ruin everything, and I wasn't excited for the movie at all. But I couldn't edit it and post it before the movie came out, and I saw the movie and I fucking loved it, and like I kind of knew that I was gonna love it. Yeah, I don't have any problems with like the Minus timeline anymore. I think that it's great. I like it. I like the Saiyan lore a lot. Like I'm very happy that we have new Saiyan lore. I'm not avidly keeping up with the new arcs of the manga that are coming out, but from what I'm seeing on Tumblr, it looks really promising, and I'm really excited for it. It looks like Vegeta has a lot of good development again, and I'm very happy about that. Yeah, so those are my those are my 9 improvements to Dragon Ball Super. I don't know if I'm gonna do any more YouTube videos or a lot more YouTube videos, so subscribe or don't. But if you do like this video, like leave a comment because I want to know. People probably really disagree with me, and that's okay. Like I expect that. Criticizing Dragon Ball is a hot topic. So yeah, let me know what you think. If there's any other improvements that you think could be made, like let me know too, because I'm very interested. And drop me a like. Yeah, thank you.